guys, welcome back. In today's video, Sergei Pavlovich to replace Stipe Miocic for Jon Jones fight, Canelo Alvarez promises to beat Conor McGregor with one hand, Dana White offers Jon Jones to Tyson Fury for an MMA fight, and Francis Ngannou reveals horrible pay he got in the UFC. Sergei Pavlovich to replace Stipe Miocic for Jon Jones fight. UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones has made his intentions clear that he would be satisfied to go back into retirement if he defeats former long-reigning heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic. He believes the fight against Miocic is the important fight to add to his already impressive resume.
Right now my goal is to have one more big fight against Stipe Miocic, Madison Square Garden, and then kind of hang it up from there.
But Stipe's comeback title fight may now be in jeopardy. Unfortunately for Jon Jones and Stipe, their original desired date of July 8, 2023 in Las Vegas, Nevada for UFC 290 never came together. Now, it might not happen at all, according to three-time UFC analyst and insider Chael Sonnen. Sonnen told Brendan Schaub,
I'm hearing strong rumors Stipe and Jones is going to go up in flames and that Sergei Pavlovich versus Jones is happening in August. I'm hearing strong rumors on that. It's strong enough that I can tell you that's at least being pursued. I don't know where they are in agreeing, but that's at least being pursued. And if you did have partners in Australia, you promised them Izzy and you said, look, I can't deliver, but I can bring you Jones and Pavlovich. Are we good? They'd probably say, yeah, we're good.
Stipe Miocic has been on an extended layoff since March of 2021. Following his knockout loss to former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou at UFC 260. During Miocic's absence, Russian heavyweight Sergei Pavlovich, now ranked number 2, has emerged as a formidable force in the division. Pavlovich has won his last 6 UFC bouts in the first round, lending acceptance to the assumption that he will be Jon Jones's toughest challenge in the division. When asked to fight Sergei Pavlovich, here's what Jon Jones said.
Yeah, he's very exciting. I believe his last 6 fights have been first-round knockout, which is very, very impressive. He kind of reminds me of a Glover Teixeira when I fought against Glover. When I fought Glover, I think he was on like a 17-fight win streak. Primarily a puncher, not much of a kicker. I think Glover's a lot more well-rounded. But yeah, this kind of reminds me of a Rampage Jackson, Glover Teixeira, kind of Alexander Gustafsson, one of those guys who are kind of a one-trick pony.
Canelo Alvarez promises to beat Conor McGregor with one hand. One-trick pony Canelo Alvarez doesn't appear interested in fighting former UFC champion Conor McGregor after learning of him calling him out for a boxing match. Last week, McGregor was in attendance to support his fellow Irish fighter when he was asked about Canelo. The Irishman had no qualms about saying he would have no problem facing Canelo, and he believes he is on a downward slide.
I'm a southpaw, Ryder was a southpaw, Billy Joe was a southpaw. Yeah. I've seen methods, I've seen things I do, and I know he's waning. I'd fight Canelo, no fucking problem.
The former dual-weight UFC champion has only ever boxed professionally once, and on that occasion, he was stopped by Floyd Mayweather inside 10 rounds. But Canelo wasn't impressed by what he saw from McGregor. When the Mexican boxer was asked about McGregor's comments at an unveiling of his figure at a wax museum in Mexico City, he responded dismissively. Always one to stay locked into social media, McGregor soon got wind of Canelo's comment about him and fired back with an angry Twitter post. McGregor retaliated, "Canelo, you little ginger sausage, I beat you with no hands, don't forget." Canelo has repeatedly distanced himself from crossover fights with YouTuber Jake Paul and former UFC champion Kamaru Usman, but does appear to be open to them at the tail end of his career. For now, the 32-year-old is desperate to avenge his last loss, which came when he jumped up to light heavyweight to take on WBA champion Dmitry Bivol in 2022. If not Dmitry, traditional boxing fans will hope Canelo sticks to fighters in his own sport for now, potentially against David Benavidez. Meanwhile, McGregor is gearing up for his first fight since suffering a fractured tibia and fibula. The 34-year-old is booked to face Michael Chandler, and an announcement about exactly when, where, and what weight that fight will take place is imminent. Dana White offers Jon Jones to Tyson Fury for MMA fight. Just a few days after slamming boxing for booking too many gimmicky type fights, Dana White sang a different tune when he inserted himself into the ongoing feud between Fury and Jon Jones. Suddenly, White is interested in making such a gimmicky fight in the UFC between the two heavyweight champions of boxing and mixed martial arts. White said,
"Let's find out. Listen, we can talk all we want. Tyson can talk, Jon Jones can talk, I can talk, we can all talk. Let's do it. I mean, if Tyson's serious and he wants to do it, listen, I got Floyd Mayweather to fight. We paid Floyd and got Floyd the number he wanted. If Tyson Fury is serious and he wants to fight Jon Jones in the UFC, let's start talking."
Well, Fury recently took to Instagram, and instead of agreeing with the president, the Gypsy King slammed the duo of White and Jones for coming up with this proposal. Fury has already responded to Jones that an MMA fight didn't interest him, and now he's letting White know the same thing in response to his offer to start talking. Fury wrote on his Instagram stories, "If you want to fight me, it's going to be under boxing rules. I don't roll around the floor. I stand up and punch." The beef had started when Fury was not happy about Joe Rogan's opinion that Jon Jones could beat him in a fight.
"I heard Joe Rogan say something about me the other day and I've been off all the social media and didn't reply to no little midget, bald-headed midget. I heard him say that Jon Jones could me up if we went in the room together. I don't think so. Not a man born from his mother can me up in a room on our own. Whatever happens in that room, I'd be walking out. Not a problem."
With this statement from Fury, it is safe to say that the boxer will not be meeting the UFC heavyweight champion inside the octagon, although a fight could materialize in the boxing ring if Jones agrees to the stipulation. But Jones is no Ngannou and isn't in love with boxing. Francis Ngannou reveals the horrible pay he got in the UFC. Now that Francis Ngannou is no longer in the UFC, the floodgates have opened to the PFL heavyweight. During a recent interview with the Le Bartage show, Ngannou discussed the many issues he had with the UFC's treatment of him during his time there. When talking about the 8-fight contract, Ngannou revealed he was only making $100,000 to $120,000 to fight the other top heavyweights he faced before becoming champion. While this may seem normal for most fighters, Ngannou had headlined most of the cards he fought on and was the #1 contender for years while awaiting the Stipe DC trilogy. Ngannou also discussed the dirty game he believes the UFC used against him during his last contract with the promotion. Ngannou alleged that the UFC used those tactics to keep him from becoming a free agent, effectively hindering his position to negotiate for a better contract.
What I was asking at first was just like, can I have a fight? Because I had a 8-fight contract and I want to fulfill that contract. But they wouldn't allow me since I wasn't going to sign another contract because they knew that if I fulfill that contract, I'm automatically free. And then they use some kind of like a dirty game there, freeze me out. They know how much I was getting per fight, which wasn't much at all, just a few pennies.
The narrative has been heavily controlled by the UFC, making him look like he was unreasonable and hard to work with. They spread rumors in the media about Ngannou asking for more money, when all he wanted was to fight out his contract and become a free agent. Ngannou was able to become champion and defend his title, becoming a free agent a year later. And after a 4-month process, Ngannou recently signed a deal with the PFL that changed the landscape of MMA contracts. Regardless of how his time in the UFC went, what matters now to Ngannou is fulfilling his boxing and PFL plans. Hey, if you enjoyed this video and plan to watch more, quickly subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to like and comment.